Hey everybody, it's Stuart Macadam here, and someone has put forward quite an interesting question, and that is, hey Stuart, what are your thoughts on the Facebook versus Apple changes that are coming up with regards to the iOS 14.5 implementation kicking in on April 26th? I've seen you've made some videos about what the changes are and how they're going to affect small businesses, but what is your actual take on how these changes are going to affect you personally, being a Facebook marketer? So I decided to just create a video to discuss things in a little bit more detail and just give sort of my thoughts and takes on how I feel about the situation, and also just what possible repercussions might come out as a result of this. So let's get straight into it. So what do I think? Firstly, I'm curious as well. I'm mostly a little bit annoyed. I'm a MacBook owner. I've had a MacBook Air since May last year. It's the first time in a while I've actually forayed back into Apple products. I'd previously been just a standard laptop user. Had a Samsung phone or Android phone pretty much since 2016. Haven't had any interest or desire to go near iPhones at all. Mainly because I find that Apple products work well with other Apple products. If you're trying to connect or integrate it into other sort of platforms or systems or whatever, it always seems to be just a little bit difficult, and that even comes down to things such as the charging cords. So I've always preferred other products beyond, laptops now. I'm a bit sold on the MacBook. But aside from that, like I prefer to use products that are not Apple products. And I haven't been sort of, told, this is to give you more safety, this is to give you more security, this is to give you more privacy. It's really just something that Apple's just decided to announce. And with that said as well, like I also work in Facebook ads all day and every day. I know what the repercussions are. I know the consequences that are going to come as a result of having these changes implemented and rolled out. And it's been quite a process to get all of this rolled out. It's really just been something that has been such an ongoing process, and there has been so much uncertainty about it. And a lot of people, particularly clients, are panicking a little bit as to what the changes are. Some are not even aware of the changes at all, and it really sort of like puts a bit of a stick in the sand out there on who actually, like, whose side are you going to take? Are you going to go on Apple's side? Are you going to go on the Facebook side? I'm sort of on two sides of the coin. I know that Apple has got my information, and I know that they have a lot of the details about where I live, where I am, and are they just going to put that information to one side and just say, no, we're done with it? No, I don't. I'll be completely honest. I think Apple is going to stand to gain from it in some way. And that sort of comes to the next point, which is I don't think Apple is doing it because they're interested in maintaining and upholding the privacy of the users. A lot of the information which Apple stores and collects is actually being used, probably most likely, as a means to help them revitalize their fledgling advertising business, which Facebook has probably capitalized on quite healthily. I saw this article come up the other day, and I think it was in the Financial Times, and it talked about how Apple's looking to boost their ad business. And one of the things that was quite interesting when having a look at this article is that Apple declined to comment about the article itself. Now, whenever a business declines to comment about it, there's, either some truth, half truth, or completely true. And I would say in this situation, there would probably at least be some truth to this article right here. I do think Apple will look to revitalize their advertising in some shape or form. I don't know how that's going to look. Um, what Whether it's on their advertising store for their apps, whether it's through some other platform, whether it's just to MacBook users, to iPhone users, but they will probably try and roll out and sell some sort of advertising on the platforms at some point in time. And it will be quite interesting to see when they finally do make a comment about that, whether they are planning to give complete privacy to the users by having any information that is entered in on their products encrypted. And I might be completely wrong about this. I'm not the most incredibly tech savvy person, and I could be completely wrong here. So if you think something needs to be corrected or a correction needs to be made, just please put it in the comment section below. More than happy to acknowledge that I'm wrong. Or if you've got commentary yourself on how these changes are going to affect you as a MacBook or iPhone user, Apple user, or as a Facebook marketer, would also like to hear thoughts in the comments section below. But the big thing here is it just seems like a lot of it's done as an ego battle. Apple's wanting to get one over Facebook, and they've probably tried different angles, different opportunities to capitalize on market share, on influence, and hasn't worked. So they probably, I mean, this is just sort of me theorizing here, probably have thought about all the different ways in which they could actually, capitalize and win in this situation, and probably discovered that with the latest changes that this could happen with the iOS changes rolling out on April 26th. So it's quite interesting too, where I came across an article by a former Facebook employee called Henry Love, who says, and just going to read this out, and I don't think anybody would know what the changes are. It's going to affect Facebook, probably not the small business owner. Now, Henry Love is a former Facebook employee, and it kind of brings around the next point, which is I'm unsure that Facebook is terribly as interested in small businesses as they claim to be. I mean, I think one of the best things which could be done by Facebook at this time to sort of really show a sign of how much they care is to probably put together a comprehensive tutorial on how to prepare yourself for all the iOS changes, rather than just having little write-ups, actually doing full-blown videos for every single platform and every website partner integration which they have available. I haven't seen that yet. If you have seen all of the videos for that, then please do send them through in the comments section below. But it sort of makes me doubtful. Like, they have the instructions, they have the write-up stuff, they have do this and do that and the next thing, but not the full-blown tutorials to sort of help you fully check and make sure that it's okay. Have they gone, to the level where most small businesses would benefit from the help? It's very hard to say. I personally remain a little bit doubtful, but maybe that's just my skeptical advertising mind. And, for the businesses that are going to be affected by it, look, it's probably those businesses that haven't fully looked into these changes and just how much they're going to be affected by it. What changes can I see coming in? Well, probably the biggest one is I can see Facebook seriously looking at introducing mobile device targeting, so Android, iPhone targeting, and that might really push up the CPM and cost per 1,000 people reached for advertising people on, non-Apple products. You might actually find that, it might be a bit of a case of advertising in the Wild West, because a lot of these metrics are going to be probably estimated on the Apple products. So for anyone that hasn't opted in. But the other interesting thing as well that might be worth looking at is I can also see the user experience on the device, on the Apple devices, possibly being affected as well, because Facebook has such a large reach and such a large influence. the overall level of targeting, which can be used for the advertising platforms, might be a lot different. So you may just find that a lot of the ads which are served to people on the Apple platform are indeed cold ads, whereas they might be targeted elsewhere for retargeting ads. So it's going to be very interesting to see these changes, but I see the device-only targeting being something that really features prominently in future advertising. And to be perfectly honest, I'm really surprised it hasn't come in already. I thought that would have been one of the things Facebook had looked at a long time ago, and it is really going to just change the game with, sort of the levels of targeting available. I can also see Apple rolling out some sort of targeted changes that are really going to start impacting the user experience of the iPhone. And I think if they really drill down on this one, they may find that a lot of the iPhone sort of ads and experience and stuff that people are experiencing, if they are looking to revitalize, going back here to the boosting their advertising thing, you might see some of like advertising and other features popping up a lot more. So I think that's definitely going to be something that's worth keeping an eye on. At the same time, it's going to be interesting to see how Facebook adapts to it. I was reading somewhere that even take legal action against Apple for this. I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. I highly doubt it, because Facebook hasn't really got much of a claim to make beyond it's going to affect our ability to scale. And that sort of thing happens in businesses all the time. Your competitors are going to look for ways to chop and undercut you and take you down. And I see this whole thing coming back to the initial thing of Apple versus Facebook is it's really going to be a huge ego battle, is ultimately what I think it is. It's a case of who wants to win more and who's more determined to uphold the changes and make the claim that they are more concerned. And it might even become a public relations battle as well. Both companies have obviously benefited quite a lot from the free publicity that's been generated from this whole debacle. Both companies definitely know that the kind of spin to put onto it, for the advertisers on Facebook and people that are relying on Facebook advertising, as well as those who are getting increasingly concerned with their privacy and information being made so readily available to third-party platforms, have just really marketed it really well. I'm going to be interested to see the opt-in rates for allowing Facebook to use your information to serve particular ads up to you. Those iPhone users that are going to put in the iOS changes. I'm also going to be very interested to see how Apple looks to, improve their advertising scheme. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that, mainly just out of personal interest, because I have no desire to buy an iPhone anytime soon, so I'm not really going to be affected by these iOS changes. Perhaps if they roll it out onto Mac products later on, I might be a little bit more interested to see how that affects my user experience. Hasn't really made too much of a difference so far. And we'll also be interested to see how both of the companies are going to reach out to the prospective users and actually sort of let them know, how exactly is it going to affect you personally. Facebook says it's going to push up the cost of advertising, but that hasn't been proven yet. You'd need a bit of time, and you'd need to kind of see the cost of advertising on the metrics and compare that against the sort of the months prior to that to see if it's actually made a difference. And yeah, that's sort of like pretty much my take on this whole thing. If you've got any thoughts or comments that you've got about the Facebook versus Apple war, would love to hear thoughts and keep the discussion going in the comments section below. You can leave a like if you found this video useful, and please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Really appreciate all your support, and I will see you in the next video. See ya.